Hi everyone, welcome you all in T3P. With this video, we are going to start our AWS Cloud Practitioner series that will have 6 to 7 videos with all the sections covered, which is required for this particular exam. Not only this video help you for your certification, but also set the foundation. So we will start from very basic, like what is cloud computing, what are the core services we are having in AWS Cloud, what are the other additional services where we need to focus, how the security implements in AWS, how we can integrate other services with AWS. Along with this, we will also go through practice questions that will help you to understand when we are facing such questions in exam, how to crack them easily. So let's start one by one. So first, let's talk about the agenda for this series. This is the agenda for whole series. Uh, as you know, we are having 4 sections for this particular exam. First section is all about introduction of cloud computing. Next section is security and compliance. Third section is about cloud technology and services. Fourth section we will talk about billing, pricing, and support model. It's provided by AWS. So first section, if we talk about in first section, means today we are going to cover this whole sections. Here we are going to talk about what is cloud computing. We'll talk about the overview of AWS cloud and its global infrastructure. Then we will cover benefits of adoption, why we need to use cloud nowadays to host our application. And that will be followed by cloud value proposition in terms of how we can save cost, how we can reach globally, how we can provide high availability and fault tolerance. After this, we will cover well architect framework. There are 6 pillars in AWS that we will talk about. After that, we will talk about cloud adoption framework, why companies are choosing cloud or AWS cloud especially. So we will talk about the overview and benefits of that in terms of their role in cloud adoption. Okay, and the last we are going to cover cloud economics, that how the cost vary between fixed and variable cost, and how customer can save with the fixed model, or we can say the commitment, and how we can test, or we can say in the dev environment. Normally we want to set our resources that okay, for the long term we want to run with these resources, but in start we need to go with the hit and trial, so we should start with pay as you go models. So there are different models we are having. Similarly, in terms of licenses, there are few things that AWS provide, and also we can save some cost when we will bring our own license, existing license. So there are many things we have to cover, but here just need to understand, for this exam you no need any hands-on experience in terms of any particular labs you need to do, but you need to understand what actually this particular service do and where we can use this service. So we are having different kind of services, like core services we are having some managed services as well. So these all things we need to cover in this section. If we talk about the next section, that is security and compliance, so this section is divided into 2 days. So I'm going to cover in 2 videos. In the first video I'm going to cover shared responsibility model, then I'll talk about the security and compliance concept, like importance of security in the cloud, compliance framework, and AWS compliance program. I'll talk about data encryption methods, like in transit or in rest, what exact meaning of this one. And then I'm going to talk about some security services overview as well, which are very important in terms of this exam, or not only for this exam. When you will are going to implement AWS solution, these services will help you. So for the same section, next day we are going to cover identity and access management. That is very important, because we need to understand how the policy is implemented, how the access is given to the resources. We need to understand how many types of authentication available, how single sign-ons work. These things we need to understand when we are going to talk about any solution in cloud. Then we are having some access management tools like secret managers, we are having systems manager, we are having confidential management and rotation as well available in AWS, that we are going to talk about. After that we are going to talk about network security as well, like you have heard security group or network access control list, VPC security features. I have shared some post already over Twitter, so you can also follow me on Twitter. This is my handle, so you can follow me on Twitter as well as Telegram. You will get the links in the description. I don't want to talk much about those. Next thing, we will talk about security logging and monitoring, and we will finish this section with additional security resources we are having, like AWS trust and safety team roles. We are having AWS security center and security blocks for updates and best practices. This is how we are going to cover the second section of this series. Third sections we are having, this section will also divide into 2 days, means two videos. When I'm talking about days, that means I have divided those videos into sections. So on the first day, we are going to talk about AWS deployment models, how are they, and deployment and operations. Also we are going to talk about like access method. We will talk about management console. We are having AWS CLI and software development key we are having. So we are going to talk about that, and later we will talk about IAC method, like infrastructure as a code. And in AWS we are having AWS cloud formation. It's similar to Terraform, you can relate it. Then we are going to talk about, as I mentioned, deployment model like cloud, hybrid, on-prem, and public cloud. Next, we are going to talk about connectivity options, which we are having, that will help you to connect our on-prem infrastructure to AWS cloud. So we are having AWS VPN, we are having AWS Direct Connect, and we having other options as well. Next, we are going to talk about AWS global infrastructure, where we are going to talk about regions, availability zones, and edge locations. After that, we are going to talk about core services. Those are very important. So, first day, we are going to cover compute and storage services. After that, next day, we are going to talk about database, networking, and other additional services like analytics or AI ML services that we are going to cover in this section. So first day we will mostly talk about deployment, or we can say the architecture. Next day we are first day we will take two core services. Later we will talk more about core services. These core services are always important whenever you are going to talk about any cloud provider. If you are learning Azure, then you have to go through the core service. If you are learning other cloud, because these are the foundation services which make your solution workable. Next, in this day, we will talk about application integration services like Amazon SQS service. We are having notification service. We are having event based service. So these are the services we are going to talk about. So this is how we are going to cover the section 3. And in the fourth section we are going to talk about pricing model. As I mentioned, we are having pay as you go, like on demand model. We are having reserved instance option, we are having saving plan option, and spot instance options we are having. We will talk about those. Next we will talk about cost management tools as well, like cost explorer work like a calculator. Then we are having budgets, we are having cost and usage report, and the pricing calculator we are having from AWS. Next, we will talk about the support plan we are having from AWS. Then in the last, we will talk about what are the AWS documentation or technical resources we are having to learn more about AWS. So this is how we are going to cover all four sections. So mostly I'm trying to cover in the all in 6 videos, but let's depend how it is going to stress. I don't want to make longer video because it takes more time to understand, and more attention you would require. So I know that I'll make smaller videos so you can cover easily. So let's start now. So guys, let's start with our day one, where we are going to talk about introduction and cloud concept. So let's start with domain one. So first, let's understand what are the goals we are having with the day one video, or we can say about the first section of out of four sections. So first section will help you to set the basic foundation. So here we are going, our goal is to understand cloud computing and AWS roles, how AWS fits in a picture. Then we will learn about AWS global infrastructure and its benefit. Then we will learn about the cloud economics. That means we will learn about the cost saving, scalability, how many models we are having, that we are going to talk about here. Next we will understand AWS bulk architect framework, we can say, or cloud adoption framework. So there are two framework we are having that we are going to talk about in this particular section. So the thing is, let's understand what is AWS Cloud. So AWS is one of the leading cloud service provider in the world right now. But what exactly is cloud computing? Okay, so cloud computing is like renting powerful computers and storage that is accessible over the internet instead of owning them. They means we no need to purchase the computer, like for your day-to-day work. What you are doing, you are purchasing your desktop or computer, but instead of that you can rent a VM in the cloud and you can fulfill your purpose. This is how cloud computing works. If we talk about in short, cloud computing is renting powerful computer or storage which can be accessible over the internet, or we can say delivery of computing services over the internet. So we can think of it as using electricity from the grid. Instead of generating it yourself, you are using your electricity department, right? Similarly, AWS provide the infrastructure and services that your business need to build and run application. This is how we can define AWS. So next is, what is cloud computing? As I mentioned, cloud computing is the delivery of computing services like servers, storage, network, software, analytics over the internet. When we are talking about over the internet, that means we are talking about from the cloud. It offers three main model we are having: infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service. Let's understand these three with a simple example. Right now you are using some license based software or application, like you are having Gmail account, right, or Office 365 account, where you just need to create your username and password. You can access that application for your mailing services. So this service comes under software as a service, where you just need to purchase license, you can use it. Next example, we are having platform as a service. Platform as a service provide tools to develop and manage application without worrying about infrastructure. For example, you are a developer, you don't want to waste your time to install the operating system, then you install the libraries or code environment for yourself to develop write a code. So instead of that, you can purchase this service, and here you, whatever environment you want, you directly get the console of that one, where you just need to write your code and your application will be the output of that one. So here you just need to focus more on writing code and getting your result. No need to worry about your infrastructure part. That's why this service is called platform as a service. Here, if we talk about SaaS, you don't have any control what is going on inside, right? You just need to worry about your data, your credential, then you can access. Here you no need to worry about infrastructure. You just need to worry about what code you need to write. Next model, we are having infrastructure as a service, where you will get the access, where you can choose your operating system you want, you can choose whatever application you want. So you will get the access from the OS layer itself, operating system layer itself. After that, you can run install your runtime environment, then you can write your code. So you can go and end up with your creating your application that can be accessed by any end user. So here you will get more control, here you will get less control. So when we are talking about the control wise, when you will move from IaaS to SaaS, your control will be less. But again, this will be the costlier because you have more control. This will be the cheaper option you will always get from the cloud provider. So in cost wise, when you want to save cost, you can directly use SaaS application. When you want more control, you can go with the infrastructure as a code. So these are the three models we are having in AWS cloud, or we can say the cloud computing. Now let's talk about AWS Global Infrastructure. So AWS has data centers, okay. As you know, every cloud provider having, and your organization also having the data center where the actual servers are hosted and somebody is there who is taking care of those. So AWS has data center which is spread across the globe, which are grouped into the region and availability zone. So these are the individual buildings, okay. These data center individual locations we are having, but these are divided into regions. So we can have region, and in each region we can have availability zones. In some cases we are having one availability zone, in some cases we are having three availability zones, and it can go up to six availability zones as well. It's depend on location to location. So whenever you talk about the high availability system, you need to make sure that you host your application in a region where we have the mm, more options for availability zones. Normally what we do, we decide this region based on our end user. So we always want low latency for our accessing application by the end user. So if we have the end user here, we want to access this application, so we want to keep this application near to the end user location. So on the basis of that, we will choose this location. For example, you have the end user from US location, then you will choose US location. If you have in Europe, then you will go with the Europe. Otherwise Asia Pacific, then you will go with the Asia Pacific. This is how these are normally used for deciding where you want to host your applications. And when we are talking about, so region is physical location which is available worldwide. Next thing, we are having availability zone. So how we can define? These are the independent, or we can say isolated area. For example, you are having this location for Asia Pacific. You can have one availability zone is in Bangalore, then another we can have in Mumbai, other we can have in Ahmedabad. It's like that. Similarly, in other regions we can have in three different cities. So these availability center, these are also called as a data center. If we talk about, these are having redundant power supply, redundant hardware, everything is redundant there. So if something happen wrong with the one particular component, still your application will be available through the redundant component. So you always have the multiple copies whenever you host your application or any services, that will be replicated and you will have multiple copies of that. But at a time, one will be active. So your users are accessing that particular copy. If something happen wrong with this one, then your application will be available here. Similarly, when you want high availability region wise, like for example, you have users across globe, okay, but you want that if something happened wrong with one particular location like US region, then you want to redirect that traffic to Europe region. Then what you will do, you will choose multi-region availability. So if something happened wrong with one region, similarly when you are looking for high availability within a region, you will go with the multiple availability zone options there. So there are different kinds of replication there. The replication can happen locally, it can happen regionally, it can happen zone level as well. So that we will talk about when we will going to talk about high availability, how it provides. So the basic concept is this, how AWS infrastructure is spread. Now we'll talk about benefits of cloud adoption. So first thing, it provides scalability. That means it adjusts the resources as per our need or as per demand of our application. So for example, right now, if you are running with two server and you are having some commercial business like Amazon, okay, you know the traffic will increase at the time of Christmas, at the time of Diwali based on different locations. So what it do, it use scalability features. For example, right now your application is running with the two servers. At the time of high load, it auto scale to 10 servers, 20 or 100. It's all depend on requirement. Once this festive season over, it will reduce the number of servers and bring back to normal situation. what we decide. So we need to configure these all, so we can increase and decrease resources easily based on our need. That's why it saves the cost. Early time, or traditional way, what will happen, if we are running any application, such application, we have to procure all the servers in advance that can handle the load. You can understand right now millions of users are accessing Amazon platform, and every time the traffic is not same, so we can't predict right now. So it's choosing auto scaling option is the best to save the cost. That's how cloud computing usage or adaptability is increasing day by day, and every organization is moving to the cloud platform. Whatever cloud it is, the concepts are same. That's why they are moving. Next, we are having elasticity. Elasticity, that means auto scaling based on demand. So cloud is having the feature of elasticity, like we have elastic that stretch. When we stretch it, it will bring back to the normal size. When we no need to stretch it, or we leave it like that. So AWS can automatically adjust resources when demand changes. So it is kind of a feature. Next is agility, faster app deployment. Agility is something how quickly it reacts. When we no need it, it immediately bring it down. When we need it, it immediately make it up. So you can deploy your application faster and try new things without heavy upfront investment. Right, most of the cases whenever then any startup come, they need the resources to hit and try, right? So many times they have to procure the resources for that one, like laptop, computer, servers and all. Uh, there is a case that out of 100 only one or two startup got successful, right? But rest, what is happening, they are going to lose everything there, right? But in the case of cloud, if they are using the cloud resources, they don't have to burden themselves much, because they no need to pay anything extra. Means upfront cost they need to pay. Yeah, let's understand upfront cost and opex. There are two type of cost we are having: capex and opex. Capex is capital expenditure, which we normally use in our traditional environment, where we buy everything and we need to pay in advance. Like if you want to buy a house, you need to pay whole amount to live in that house. Opex is something operational cost. It's like a maintenance, or whatever you consume, you just need to pay for that. It's like renting any services. So similarly here, so this feature help us a lot to save cost. Next, we are having cost saving option. Cost saving, you can go with the pay as you go in a start to hit and trial. Once your configuration is confirmed, like for your application, these are the resources required, like 4 CPU you need, or 16 gigs of RAM you need. Once it is fixed, you can go with the commitment, right? You know that how your application is behaving, how much resources it require, so you can go with the commitment. So in a start, you can go with the pay as you go. When you will go with the commitment, like 1 year or 3 year commitment, they will give you the discount. In Azure, they are giving like for 1 year they are giving around 30%, and for 3 years it's around 60 to 62%. So similarly, you are getting it Azure, AWS as well. So these are common for all the cloud providers. So this is how you can save the cost, and these are the benefits of cloud adoption. Mostly the organization always thinks about few things like cost, performance, and how much money they have to spend to purchase those thing. And the thing is, when the project is over, how to decompose that thing. But in cloud case, you are not going to purchase anything, right? So it's better to go with the cloud. You just use it and dispose it. You no need to worry about what will be done with the resources you are consuming for the resource for your application. Now let's talk about next topic, where we are going to talk about value proposition. That means we will learn about economics of scale. So AWS has vast infrastructure. That's why they are giving it like when you are having something in your society, there are multiple flats, right? Apartment, a builder build multiple flats, and that person or your builder is selling out these flats, right? This is the simple example. Similarly, AWS has the multiple resources, huge chunk of infrastructure. Out of that, it is dividing those resources and renting out. So if you are a person, you are having 10 houses, you can live in a one and rent it out 9, so you can earn money from that one. Similarly, AWS has vast infrastructure which helps reduce cost for customers. Since AWS is serving millions of customers, it can pass on saving through lower prices. This is the method used by all the cloud providers. See, when you purchase one computer, the cost, for example, it's a 50K or 100K. When you will purchase 100 computers, then the price will be less than 50K for each, right? You might get 30 or 35K. So you can save 15K here while purchasing multiple. So similarly, AWS is having resources for millions of customers. That's why he is getting, AWS is getting at lowest cost and provide to the end user. Next is global reach. That means deploy globally in minutes. So with AWS, businesses can launch their application globally in minutes. AWS global infrastructure allow you to deploy in multiple regions for redundancy and better performance. So if you want to start your company now, you want to build your server, you can directly log into the portal, and within half an hour you will have the server ready with you. If you want to purchase laptop, right, what you will do, you will go to the shop, then you will bring the laptop. You need to pay upfront cost for whole laptop, right, or desktop. But here you can directly create an account in AWS, launch a VM. Within 5 minutes you will have the VM ready for you to work on that one. So you have the option to choose OS. For example, it's not working for you, you just need to delete it, and then you can create the new one with the new operating system or new configuration. So it's very easy. If you want to increase the resources in the same VM, you can directly go, you can go to the portal, you can increase the resources. You want to reduce, you can reduce it. For example, you just want to use it for 10 hours, you just use it for 1 day or 10 hours, then you can shut it down. You need to pay for other time. You whatever storage it will use, you need to pay for that one, but for the VM you no need to pay if it is in shutdown state. This is how. And you can, that means that you can deploy your application very fast, launch your services, launch your uh, company, whatever you want. You want nowadays, it's very easy with the help of cloud provider. Next thing, high availability and fault tolerance. To set up a data center, it takes time. It takes huge time. Actually, it takes months to year to build a data center where you are going to host your application, and that will provide redundancy. Even after that, you just think about it. You want to set up a office, you want to build a data center in one location, but do you think that is safe for your application? No, you need to build one more data center at different location within a country. If you want to give more exposure to the end user, which is globally, then you need to build one more data center in other country. But here you can save the cost because cloud provider already have that infrastructure ready. You just need to go use it, configure it, and you will be given the fault tolerance for your application with the help of availability zone. So AWS ensures high uptime and fault tolerance from their end. You just need to work on that one. This is how we can define AWS cloud value proposition, how it is providing value with a lower cost, we can say. Now we will talk about AWS cloud framework, well architect framework, we can say. So it is having 6 pillars, and the purpose of these 6 pillars to design secure and cost effective system for you. So there, what are the 6 pillars? We are having operational excellence, security, reliability, performance, efficiency, cost optimization, and sustainability. When we are talking about operational excellence, that means it focuses on running workload effectively and gaining insights into operations, so you can fix it if there is any issue. Next is security. So AWS protects information and systems through proper security measures. They are not having one or two security consultant. They are having a big team of that which take care every model that, or we can say the license or compliance, country wise, GDPR, PII, everything whatever you think of it, they are having the expert for that, because they have to be, because they need to cater millions of customers. Next, it provides reliability, which ensures the ability to recover from infrastructure or service disruption. If in your in your the application you are using, which is having infrastructure related issue or service level related issue, they need to fix it as soon as possible. So it provide reliability, and your in most of the cases they provide 99.99 uptime. Next, we are having performance efficiency. AWS optimizes resource used to meet system requirement, that you can choose it or you can increase it whenever you need it. But as a well architect framework, as an architect, you need to decide. You need have the option to choose what configuration you want for your application. Because as an application owner, you know that how much resources your application is going to consume when it will run. Next is cost optimization. So AWS avoids unnecessary cost and ensure efficient resource use. Next pillar for well architect framework is sustainability. You always focus on minimizing the environmental impact of cloud services. So by following the well architect framework, you can design cloud system that meet your needs in the best way, and you design your application or services which are secure and cost effective. Now let's talk about next topic, which is talking about cloud adoption framework. We have talked about well architected framework. This talk about why your organization should adopt for the cloud. So there are few adoption framework that we have to follow, or we can say we follow these. That's why we are adopting the cloud. So first is business. So your organization always focus how you can improve the business value. So this framework help you to understand, or we can say help you to focus on how cloud can improve your business value. Next is people. Ensure that your teams have the skills which is needed to work on the cloud. Next, governance, which defines governance model for cloud operations, how it will work if there is any issue, who will take care of this one. Next is platform, which focuses on the technology platform to build cloud environment, because your application should be built in a way that support the cloud framework. Next, security, which address security risk and compliance. And the last, we are having operations perspective, that focuses on operations to manage cloud services. So these are the things which you need to focus when you are talking about cloud adoption framework. You just need to understand what this means when we are talking about business. That means you how you can use cloud to improve your business value. You need to make sure that your team has the right skill. You need to define the governance model for the cloud operations. Then you need to focus on technology platform to build your cloud environment. Next, you need to address security risk and compliance. Next, in the last, you need to focus on operations to manage your cloud services. Let's talk about next. Now we have already talked about what is cost, how we are saving. Now we will talk about the economics overview. So we are having different things to discuss. First is fixed versus variable cost. So traditional IT requires big upfront cost, that I already talked. It required capex, right? So where this capex actually invested? It invested in hardware and software. With the cloud, you switch to the variable cost, meaning you just need to pay what you are consuming. You no need to worry about hardware. You no need to worry about software. What will happen after you don't use it? You no need to worry. You just need to pay what you are consuming at that point of time. Next is cloud saving and optimization. So AWS provide tools like Cost Explorer and Trusted Advisor to help optimize cost by using automation and right sizing. So it helps for cost saving and optimization. Next, we are having license model. As I already mentioned in starting, we are having the option to bring your own license. That means we can bring our own license. For example, you are running MS SQL server in our on organization. You want to migrate this server or database in the AWS cloud, you can create that one and you can use the same license there. So you can bring your own code that lets you bring your own existing software license to AWS. That will help you to save the license cost when you are moving to the cloud. Next, we are having managed services and economics impacts. With AWS managed service like RDS, EKS, Lambda, so there are many services we are having. So AWS handles the heavy lifting for them and reduce the operational burden for businesses. For example, if you are using Kubernetes, you no need to install the Kubernetes or build the Kubernetes cluster from the scratch. You just need to choose the resources and control plane will be managed by AWS. So you just need to focus on what workload you want to run. That control plane can be managed by them. So these are available in managed services as well. So there are different services that you can choose it. Now let's talk about what you need to do now, because we have covered the first section, what we need to learn for the first section. Now the thing is how you can prepare for your exam. So you can read AWS Cloud Practitioner Essential. You can go through the AWS side, you can explore more and more. That will help you to build or set up your foundation, and you will learn more new things when you will explore. You can watch AWS Cloud videos, which is already available for free on Skill Builder portal of AWS. That links I will share with you, or you can connect with me, then I can share. You can practice with the AWS pricing calculator. See, whenever you design any solution or are going to give any solution, you need to know that how the cost is calculated for any resource in the cloud. So just give some time, like you can give an hour or you can give an half an hour, just to understand what type of resource are there, what are the configuration it required to get the exact cost what you are looking. And you can, if you want to build more knowledge about around AWS, you can go through the AWS case studies which is available on AWS site. So if we talk about the takeaways for from this video, you need to understand that AWS provide scalability, agility, cost saving, elasticity, every feature which you think of any cloud provider. It provide well architected framework for reliable system or secure system, we can say. It follows some economics which help you to move from fixed cost to variable cost. It is having cloud adoption framework where you think about how you can use your cloud provider to improve the business value. And also you need to make sure that your people or your employees are having the right skills to work in the cloud domain. So these are the key takeaways. Where I'll also prepare a video with the practice question that I'll share with you, or you can also go through the existing video which is already available in my channel, where I have explained more than 150 plus question for this. I have shared the videos for cheat sheet for AWS. I'll share the link in the description box, and don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Telegram, where you will get the documents for the quick guides and everything. So I hope you find this video helpful. If you find it helpful, you'll know what you need to do. Just like this video, share with your friends. If you want to help them, they can learn. You can follow me on Twitter with this handle. See you there. Till then, keep learning, keep transforming, keep signing. Bye bye.